Welcome back to the No World Order podcast as of June 25th, 2002, which I have at least temporarily named No Row Order. But we'll get to that a little bit later. I honestly can't wait to make the graphic. We'll see what comes out of my brain. But we kind of tease it at the end of the first part of our episode. There's been some issues with WWE. There's been some issues with Vince McMahon. Drew, you said a co-worker of yours kind of told you about it, but you want 100% about what's going on. So I heard about it, like, I think the day before there was like actual big news. There was like some rumors and rumblings, right? Mm-hmm. And in WWE, there's been a lot going on lately. Cody came back. Then he had a Hell in a Cell with a fucking completely torn pectoral muscle. It looked horrendous. It was insane. But a lot of people are like, hey, that wasn't safe. He shouldn't have been allowed to do that. And other people are like, holy shit, Cody Rhodes is fucking crazy and did like the coolest thing ever. Then there was like the Sasha Banks, Naomi, who were women's tag team champions, just walking out in the middle of an episode of Raw. So there's been some high profile kind of news, which kind of started to prep everything for what was coming, almost, as far as talking about WWE, giving it a little bit of attention. But the day before the big news broke, I had read some rumblings of some sort of cover up within WWE. The board was going to investigate, and it may or may not have to do with some sort of inappropriate relationship or sexual allegations. And I was like, oh shit, that'll be interesting. I didn't think it was going to be huge, but the next day it was announced that Vince McMahon was stepping down as CEO and chairman temporarily, still remaining in charge of creative though. Don't worry, everybody. But he voluntarily stepped down temporarily so the board could do their investigation. So as stuff started to kind of come through, people are saying, and there hasn't been an official release or statement or anything like that, but it looks like $3 million of whatever allocated budget may have gone to somebody who was a relatively new employee at WWE, I think maybe only a few years or something along those lines. But it looks like that person's salary also was really big and then took a even bigger jump after, and here's the kicker, this person was involved in a relationship with Vince McMahon. I don't know Vince McMahon. I've never met him, but I feel like there's always a lot of accusations going his way. I'm not sure if they're founded or if it's just something that happens when there's a male at the top of a very big business that has a lot of younger females. What has been your perception of Vince McMahon as it relates to females that you've felt over the years as a wrestling fan? What do you think?
Oh man, all right, there's a lot to unpack there. Jeez. Yeah, over the years, I mean, you can look at it, he's been terrible to women. It's been awful. Like,
on or off camera, he's been terrible.
All we can go off of is on camera and the product he presents. I don't really know too much about his personal life, especially growing up. We didn't have quite the immediate internet access like we do now, so I don't know his personal life, but I just go off of the product he put on, and like how he completely objectified women, and even put himself in the middle of like storylines like that, so I don't know. The way I see it is like I'm not surprised that these allegations happen. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but definitely not surprised. It seems completely in line with this character. What I'm surprised about is like what took so long for somebody to say something or speak out or whatever. But maybe the way he gets away with it is because it's always done on air, and that's under contract and characters, and they know what they're doing, and all of that. So he has freedom to kind of write it however he wants because it's the show and he's the boss and has the final say. So I don't know his personal life at all, but the product he presents and how he's been on screen is not good at all, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
none of
But
us
it's
know him.
weird but it is weird because it's like outside of women, it seems like the men who like go on have, I don't know. I guess it's hit or miss. Some people hate Vince, some people love him and like will always have respect for him. So I don't know. He's an interesting guy for sure. He has a lot of power.
He does. And I do agree that it is in line with his character. The
Yes.
character, Mr. McMahon,
Yes.
from the fucking Attitude Era, who was just an asshole. And the storylines with Trish Stratus and his wife, and I don't even remember how many women he's had storylines with. Does it change anything for you that both his daughter and his wife were present and basically gave okays for most of these stories?
So what I heard is that basically him and Linda have basically not really been together for years now. And they just have like a partnership more for just business operations. So if that's the case, then fine. And he's allowed to do and have his fun, whatever. And there's that sign off from it, then cool. That's fine for sure. But it is interesting if you look at it like that. It's like, damn, they're not even together. This is more of a show, like House of Cards, like where they were like just kind of play, just for show, basically. And yeah, that's I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know, man. They're an interesting family. They're a weird family. Like,
They
I don't
are a
know.
weird
I don't
family.
know.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like I get that vibe as well. Like they're not really a loving couple that does crossword puzzles in each other's arms on Sunday mornings. But I also wonder if she separated herself from Vince so much in the public eye so she could do politics, and if it's almost like an orchestrated part of the narrative that, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, oh, my husband, he runs a wrestling promotion. Well, oh well, they do offensive things. It's wrestling. I'm not a part of that. You know what I mean? Like almost like arm's length to have like an excuse. But it could also be that they use the marriage as, a tax shelter or whatever, I guess
Yeah.
would be okay. And from what I read, it was misappropriation of like, funds of WWE's that was landing him in the hot seat. I don't know if it was like unwanted physical advance. I don't think so. What it sounds like is that he had allegedly a relationship with a female employee and gave her a lot of money, which people are assuming is hush money, and that's what caught him, is the misappropriation of funds. I think.
So I do have a question because we know Vince is the king of storylines and writing, blurring the lines between reality and storyline. And he was supposed to show up on SmackDown that week, just like last week, I think, when the news broke. Um, did he put it in storyline? Did he address anything? Did you catch it? What's the deal with that? Because my coworker and myself thought he would just put it in storyline and just make it a part of the show now, like he does.
Not, I wouldn't say it was storyline. It was, he came out at the top of the show, probably, capitalized on any sort of a ratings boost, came to the ring doing his walk. And
Did they say it was Mr. McMahon or Vince McMahon?
that's a great question. I'd have to go back and look.
Because
Interesting
that
detail.
does determine.
That's great. In a minute, I'll try to get you going on a topic for a minute. I'll try and go to Hulu
Yeah.
and check it out real quick.
No, because that honestly determines if he's like being himself, or if he's the character.
No, that's a great point. He's like almost putting truth in plain sight, like when he said the Earth was flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. That's a great point. Where was I? You gave me a good point and it threw me off. Anyway, so yeah, misappropriation of funds, I think, is what landed him in hot water. He came out on SmackDown. He seemed very happy, like very like jubilant, like he was happy to be there. Said it was nice to be in front of the crowd. Um, he said his big thing was, WWE, and he did like the then, now, forever, and he goes, and most importantly, together. And I was listening to Sam Roberts, Not Sam Wrestling podcast, and he kind of threw out the idea that Vince like, hey, have my back, you guys, and what's coming. When he emphasized together, was that him being like, all right, like same team, dude, get my back. I didn't get that vibe, but it was definitely interesting. I chalked it up to him just like, let me go out there and show I'm not afraid / ratings boost.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, everything is so almost in question with all of that right now. I couldn't even tell you. The other interesting part of that is I don't even think it was a month ago, Stephanie McMahon said that she was going to be temporarily taking a break, spend some time with family. And I mean, it makes sense because Triple H had that cardiac event last year. And I think it took him a long time to recover. Later on, he had said like he almost died. And then, of course, at WrestleMania 38 this year from Dallas, he retired. He came out on the second night, put his boots in the ring, and Motorhead played him out, and that was it. So he's done, and it makes sense that she would want to stay home with him. But in the wake of whatever the hell's going on, she was named CEO, and I believe chairman of the board. She's just taking over his roles, and she said she's happy to do it. I don't think there's a better person to do it. She's been in the business forever in many different roles. But it is interesting that not even a month ago, she stepped away completely, and now she's back even more so. It kind of gave me did they suspect this was coming and she got a little quick vacay before all of these new responsibilities? Or is it just happenstance like that? Maybe she wasn't there, so shit was slipping through the cracks, so this leaked, and now it's a story. I'm not sure, but that was the other part of it that plays into it that was interesting. Had you heard of Stephanie going on a sabbatical, on a break?
I don't think I did hear about that, but I mean, what you said makes sense. Like her wanting to, like, especially if they knew about it, her wanting to be able to take a little time off, spend with her husband, and then knowing that she's going to be coming back in a more predominant role, have a little bit of time off. Like, how long had she been off?
I think it was between 2 and 4 weeks, I think, because
that's not a long time, so I don't know, but yeah, that's enough to spend some time with the family, and solid time, not like in between the week type thing, because I know they make time, especially them. They make time to like go home and spend time or have the family with them.
No
kidding.
But
yeah, that I didn't know that, but it would make sense for them to be like, all right, you're gonna take this little break, rest up a little bit, and then you're gonna come back stronger. So
yeah, and it definitely made me think. So I just looked up the SmackDown from last week, and there was no like name banner when he came out, but the Titantron did say Mr. McMahon. So best evidence we have is that it's character. Yeah. Very interesting stuff, though. I don't know what's going to come of it, but there's a lot of speculation in the wrestling world. People have been talking for, I want to say, a few years now that they think WWE is going to be sold. There's been rumors about it being sold to Disney.
Yeah.
People are suspecting that this would be the final blow if Vince is like removed permanently, and that they would sell. Other people are excited that Stephanie's in charge, and they think Triple H is going to come back, and wrestling is going to be Attitude Era but current day and super awesome.
Make wrestling great again. Bring
That
Trump back.
that would be fantastic. Make wrestling great again. That's gonna be a shirt of ours when we start making shirts. Patent pending.
That's hilarious.
That's fantastic. I would wear it every day. But it's super interesting. It does tie in a little bit with everything that's going on, as far as leaks and the court of public opinion.
Leaks.
Based
Leaks
on
in the court.
Yeah, I know. I've just been teasing that whole thing the whole episode. Based on what I've seen of Vince McMahon, I have learned to not doubt him. And watching him come out on SmackDown reminded me that everyone trying to fuck him up has no chance in hell. So
yeah, but that's the thing, is like he has the money, and that's the only reason why people have no chance, because he'll keep things in court, in litigation, and keep you having to pay until you just drop it, so that's his tactic, is just like throw money at it and make it go away.
that's 100% what my tactic would be if I had the money to do it for just about everything. But I do, I mean, I know he was born into it and his dad ran the business, but he made it such a different fucking thing and has been able to thrive and survive. So he's fucking cagey and he's fucking smart, and I know he's well connected.
But they to be honest, you gotta be honest with this. They play off that like history thing a little too much, right? Like this is the first time in like, oh, this is the first time in history. Oh, this is the first time in history this has happened. Like, it's a little overdone, right?
Like politics, the first Indian, African American, little person, woman as mayor. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Can't we just refer to this as a person? It's this person's first time being mayor. Good for them. Fuck it.
Yeah.
They do overdo that, and it's so funny because when they do it in politics and the news, it's so aggravating. But in wrestling, I fucking love it. Like I will call stuff as it's happening. I'm like, oh, they just won the title. That's the first whatever. This and that fucking champion, because it's been there forever for me as a coping mechanism. So I'm attached to it. However, interesting stuff going on. I'm gonna just stay in the camp of Vince McMahon and say he's gonna get past it. This is the first time he stepped down as CEO and chairman. Also, during the 90s, there's that big steroid scandal, and I believe he voluntarily stepped away at that point. So it's not the first time. It's not like it's completely unheard of and groundbreaking. He's done it before, which makes me believe he has a fucking tactic and an escape plan or something. I don't think shit catches him off guard, but we'll see.
His escape plan is his pocketbook.
Or, I mean, when he was fighting WCW, he ended up winning and then bought the fucking company. Like, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do.
Buying the company. Just money.
Yeah.
Just money.
I know. Yeah. I fucking love it. Anyway, interesting story. Fun to follow. And then
let's get into this next topic.
It does, but I have a good segue that I wanted to. Here, let me see. I actually
jumping the gun here.
No, not at all. We're right there. But so I was on the No World Order podcast Instagram, and it's fantastic. It's all a bunch of like-minded people. Shout out to all of our followers and people we follow, because it's the most comforting place on social media you can have. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a bunch of shit that you're seeing, but at least it's other people going, hey, this is fucked up, instead of rooting it on. So I usually chill there. I don't go to my personal. I went to my personal Instagram today, and it's honestly sad to see people that I assume are smart and I consider friends saying the stupidest fucking shit ever, and they reposting these dumb memes like they made it up. It's like, we're here actually putting in a little effort to express our opinions, so we don't just mimic what everyone else is saying. And it's annoying to see all that. It really is. And so I went back to the No World Order podcast Instagram, and it was nice. But I'm going to screen share this with you, because I think it's this is what started to make me super annoyed, and I was like, all right, I got to get off of Instagram. So it's Mickey James, who is not part of the WWE anymore. She's in TNA, but she has a long relationship with WWE. And I think I read the first paragraph.
Can
the
you
first time
move
I saw
us?
it.
Can you move us?
Yeah. What
Or move the screen? Because I
what can
can't
you
read
not see?
we're just kind of in the way of the writing a little bit.
Move I think you can move us with the
Okay.
arrow, because I had to
I
do that
got
so I could
you.
read the whole thing.
I got
So
you.
Mickey, straight from Mickey James, lest anyone think I'm making this up.
Boomer here.
This is this is from her Instagram. These are her words that I'm reading. And keep in mind that her character in TNA, that's really made her go from like, oh, Mickey James, everyone knows her, to like kind of permanent in history, at least with the TNA, is the hardcore country gimmick. She comes in as hardcore country. There's an association made with people that grow up in the country, a little more conservative. But she says, and I quote, I just found out we have less rights as a woman in America than guns do. I'm in shock. And I had to stop there. Like that, just that first sentence, I'm like fucking come on. I know you're smarter than like even the grammatically, it doesn't line up with how it should sound. Just found out we have less rights as a woman. We as one woman. And you're not even making sense. And I wish she would go on to say what rights that guns have that she as a woman does not. I'm not quite sure what she means by that, although that is something I've seen pop up from people's Instagrams. I don't think they know what that means. You know what I mean? I think they saw it somewhere and they tried to mimic it and they did a poor job. She goes on to say, quote,
let me say.
Please,
all
please.
All right. Let me read this.
Please.
Right. So she says, I am dumbfounded. I don't even know what to say. Shame on you, hashtag SCOTUS, for taking us back a half a century. I'm embarrassed and heartbroken. I cannot believe it. And again, just
what do you mean? Okay, so first of all, the half a century thing, I've seen that parroted in different memes a bunch as well. So it feels like she just took a bunch of memes and put them together, which, hey, not the worst tactic, but like make it your own and make it sound good. Doesn't sound, to me, it doesn't sound good, but I guess, who am I? I don't know why dumbfounded's capitalized. I don't know why SCOTUS should be ashamed. Their job is to be like, hey, is that constitutional? Yes or no? And that's it. I don't know why she's embarrassed and heartbroken. It seems like she's taking on the feelings of others that she's made up in her mind, which can't be healthy. And I really wish she would explain what she means by taking it back half a century. What does she mean by that? She sure doesn't mean gas prices. So like expand upon. Let me know what you're thinking. All right, let me take the next one. She says, we literally have, literally, by the way, she had to throw that in there. We literally have 2.5 million homeless children living in this country that you do not care about, talk about, or do anything for. Oh, hold on. Shut up. There we go. No one cares. Shut up. 2.5 million homeless children living in this country that you do not care about, talk about, or do anything for. Can we save them? Do those babies matter? What the fuck is she talking about? Number one, where'd you get 2.5 million homeless children living in the country? And how do you know we don't care about them, talk about them, or do anything for them? Drew, how often do you and I talk about fucking trying to save kids and at least making sure they don't get sacrificed to the devil by a bunch of fucking elites?
Yeah.
Constantly.
No, it's been talked about for sure.
2.5 million. I don't see her talking about the 800,000 that go missing every year. Where's she at? Crazy.
Yeah.
You read the next one. I like this back and forth.
It's like picking and choosing for sure. Just picking and choosing.
Yeah.
All right. We have more children being murdered in our schools. Okay. We have more children being murdered in our schools year after year with the same tired hashtag thoughts and prayers with no attempt to make a change. Can we save them? Don't those babies matter?
What is she fucking talking about? Number one, like, is saying that kids get shot in school supposed to make your opinion to kill babies better? Is it supposed to make it okay? And again, where are the numbers? She said we have more children being murdered in our schools year after year. How many kids died in Uvalde? Like, I know it was like what 19 people that died, but a few of them were teachers. How many fucking people go through abortions every year?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have the numbers. I
Way
won't
too
pretend to
many.
know,
No,
but like
way too many.
hundreds of thousands, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
It's insane. And I also don't like the insult of, thoughts and prayers being negative. That it seems like a low hanging fruit, and like it took no thought of hers to put that in there. And the answer is yes, those kids do matter, and that's why we're trying to expose MK Ultra making these lone wolf attacks. Duh, Mickey James, catch up. Next paragraph goes on to say, we have a baby formula shortage right now. One you voted against funding to help fix just over a month ago. These babies have no food. Can we save them? Don't those babies matter? Again, like I get that she's upset. I feel the upsetness, but she's not making any sense. Like,
and it's just interesting. It's just all the mainstream talking points.
It really
That's all
is.
that it is.
Yeah,
it's just bullet points and like little segments here.
Exactly. I'm surprised she didn't say something about the fucking Ukraine. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, by the way, monkeypox Ukraine. Peace. China.
Yeah.
Fuck Taiwan. Like it's no fucking thought, and it sucks to see people you like say such ignorant fucking shit. I should separate her art as a fucking wrestler from her words as a person, but oh my gosh. And I'm like, well, yeah, one you voted against funding to help fix this. What is she talking about? Is she talking about?
I was trying to figure that out too. I have no idea.
Maybe she's talking about the billions we send over to the Ukraine for no reason.
No
Is
idea.
that what she's talking about? And like, while you're at it,
do those babies matter?
Do they matter? Talk about the money going to Israel. And like, yeah, there's a baby shortage formula. That's a whole other fucking conversation. It's not something to throw into this just to like try and hit fucking trigger words. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right. Next one's short. You want to take the next?
All that it feels like.
Yeah.
But, all right. Let me go. I got this one. Yeah, I got this one. You got the last one. Let's just knock it out back to back real quick. All right.
B2B.
5 children die every day from child abuse in this country. Every day. Can we save them? Don't those babies matter?
Number one, I love the questions to no one. Like, are they just hypothetical or rhetorical? Is she just like stream of thought? And I don't want to go there, don't I? But how many children die every day of poisons that happen to be in their body by the way of a needle? You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about some real issues. If you're gonna be pissed about kids dying, let's talk about what's really going on. All right, I'm gonna close it out. There is 500,000 children. There are 500,000 children living in a very broken and overpopulated foster care system at any given day in this country. Can we save them? Don't those babies matter? Or just the ones not born yet? So this is the closest I get to agreeing with her, saying that it's an overpopulated foster care system. I agree. I think the foster care system is fucking terrible, but that's about it. I'm not really sure. It just feels like a bunch of emotion with not a lot of logic. But that was a lot of fun. That was supposed to be our segue into the Roe versus Wade. We have about 9 minutes left. We can probably hit it. Nothing really big has happened, right? I mean, no news about Roe versus Wade anyway.
No news, huh?
So when the leak happened, I was like, all right, leak happened. They did a trial balloon, and from there, they're gonna either do it or not. And I feel like they got enough negative reaction that they're like, cool. Yeah, we're gonna do it. But first, we're gonna say that you can carry concealed guns, right? So we'll do the gun thing, and then we'll do the abortion thing, and we'll just turn everybody loose on each other and fuck them all. They'll kill each other off, you know. But that's kind of where my mind went. And I was surprised to see, once the decision was reached and everybody was aware, how many fucking politicians were out there demanding that people go to the streets to protest. and to not listen to the SCOTUS, and that they, they're going to undermine them and all of these things, when there has been so much going on with the January 6th non-event that that they were accusing Trump of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not even the
it's
same shit, it's
interesting
worse.
how it's all kind of playing out.
Yeah, it's not even the same shit, it's worse now, because like Trump was like, oh yeah, protest, cool. These people are like, fucking do this and knock down that, and like you be pissed, and all this fucking Maxine Waters out there saying like they're gonna undermine SCOTUS, and the black women are going to be out there by the thousands, which I have not seen a whole lot of adult black women saying that they want the ability to kill babies anywhere and everywhere at any age. I just haven't. Even less than I think other races. Fucking white women, you hear them talk about everything, right? Like they're the ones at the forefront. Fucking millennials that have never had kids or probably never even fucking had an abortion, talking about how they need to just be able to get an abortion at any point in time.
Yeah. So it's what so have you been keeping your eye on anything? I know you said there was kind of some protests going on. I know yesterday there was some protests going on. Like I said, I've been off social media, so I have no idea what's really going on, but has anything escalated? Has things still been going on, or what's the deal?
So things are going on. I would say not as big. Remember that one night during lockdowns in San Diego where we were like watching the news feed from someone, and it was like there were fireworks going off and there was tear gas and it was all crazy. I didn't see anything like that, but I did see a bunch of protesters start to vandalize. I know a bunch of places in LA at least were boarding up, closing early, that whole thing. Hiring armed security. I saw graffiti starting to go up, and then I don't know if you heard this, but there were protesters that took over a freeway in LA. I don't know how long that lasted, but it definitely stopped traffic. And then they tried to do it again today, and this time the cops pushed them back. What's that? You sound like a robot. Your audio is very choppy. So they did close some freeways down. They did do some vandalizing. I'm curious if there's going to be more. I'm not really sure where Antifa stands on it all, but I do know that Antifa has been making themselves present at some of these protests. Can't see their faces. They're holding all the signs and they're saying, I think, like, fuck the church, fuck the state. And there was some chance to burn down the precincts in each city, which could tie into what we were talking about in the first half of our episode about kind of pivoting with Uvalde into the anti-cop sentiment again, now that Antifa's back out there hating on cops. Joe, can you hear me? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. So I missed some of that, but I caught the end of that. So yeah, we're all good. Everything just completely shut down there for a second. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the actual decision being overturned?
I mean, I think as a general rule for me, less government is better government. And so if it's
Yeah.
handing from federal down to states, that's a big step closer to people being able to make their own decisions, which is what I'm about. So I would like the ability to make my own decisions. And I think a lot of these people protesting also want that, and they just don't fucking understand how things work. So like
Exactly.
I understand the emotion, because this is exactly how we felt when they were mandating the fucking jabs for everything and mandating masks for everything.
Yeah.
We pulled the same shit. Hey, my body, my choice. It didn't count when it was us. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, show up, man. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna do it, like, do it across the board to where it makes logistical sense. Don't just pick and choose and then fucking burn every city down every time you're personally offended because you made up a character in your head that got fucking raped by their dad and isn't allowed to get an abortion. You know what I mean? Or at least have the responsibility to talk about
Yeah.
how people that get abortions fucking carry it forever. You know what I mean? Come on. Or like the
But
baby
then
that was,
some are like proud of it, and that's weird.
that's fucking mental
There's
illness,
weird
man. I
there's weird mentality with that for sure.
If you're into killing babies, don't, and like I don't like the, oh well, it's a group of cells. Oh, it's a fetus. A fetus is a stage of development for a human. So if you're just, oh, it's a fetus,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fetus, which is a stage of development of a fucking human. So if you call it a fetus, you're calling it a human. Not only that, I've looked it up, and from state to state it varies, but there is an age when a woman is pregnant with a baby that if there's an abortion, I guess, or if it dies of other causes, the baby needs its own death certificate, right? You need by law to have, well, I guess the mom doesn't have to die, but if the baby dies, it gets its own death certificate. So a death certificate at that age in the womb would, in fact, validate that it was alive and therefore a person, right? So
Yeah.
these people are fucking talking out of their asses and not actually looking at the fine print. And it's like I said, I understand their frustration. They're just so fucking dumb. They can't, that's not nice. They're just misled so much that they don't know where to find the actual truth and where their independence would come from. And it's frustrating.
No, yeah, it is frustrating. It's frustrating seeing some of these celebrities and, you know, these mainstream artists and things like that come out and just say, oh, I am so heartbroken for women, or I grew up with a single mother and this just sets them back so much. And it just irritates me so much to kind of, you know, listening to their music, them just kind of having these just middle of the road opinions and not really saying anything. And I just find it really frustrating. Like they're not really saying anything. And it's they're just regurgitating just the mainstream talking points instead of just kind of having a thought for themselves. And they just feel like they have to tweet. And yeah, and again,